Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, laptop, please place said device on the off or quiet mode during proceedings. On the AM docket, Mr. Chairman, the very first case, Ian Bukowski, Brian Arnold, and Jill Antos, Epinthe Homebrew LLC, no trade name given, 3622-24 Falls Road. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license. Please come forward and raise your right hand.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Before we get started, I just wanted to make an announcement. The board is extraordinarily pleased to announce that after 27 years with the agency,
Just put that anywhere.
always so smooth, Mr. Williams. After 27 years with the agency, we're pleased to announce that we are formally appointing Doug Page to be the executive secretary. Mr. Page, as many of you know, has served as inspector, office assistant, administrative coordinator, assistant executive secretary, and acting executive secretary, and still enjoys coming into the office. He's been in his acting role since March of 2016, and I think all of us would agree he's demonstrated not just his experience, but subject matter expertise, leadership, and we are absolutely lucky and thrilled to have him in this permanent role. Commissioner Moore, would you like to add?
Well, I concur, and which I most often do. I think anyone who's been watching this board has seen a lot of change in the last year. And Commissioner Greenfield, the chairman, Matriciani, myself, and alternate Harvey Jones made high demands of the leadership and the staff. And they were not, we didn't set a low bar for anything. We set high bars of excellence and reform, and we wanted everything done yesterday. And I think that Executive Secretary Page rose to the occasion. I think when we first got started, he just asked us for an opportunity to show us what he could do, and he did do that, along with Tom Akris, Stacy, our inspectors, our inspection team, the back office. You know, everyone's risen, just about everybody's risen to the occasion, and we're thrilled. Great leadership. So congratulations, Executive Secretary Doug Page.
Mr. Jones?
Again, the high bar of excellence set by this board. Doug Page has all the attributes needed to make this happen, and I think this board is a lot better off. And again, along with everything that has been said, I give you my congratulations, and I'll see you in the end. That's retirement end. Like 20 years from now.
Very soon.
Okay.
And I should also add, Chairman Matriciani is out of town today, but obviously this is with his full support as well as the support of the mayor and City Council President Jack Young. So we're really thrilled, and congratulations, Doug. It's well earned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Very humbled.
Good morning. If you are all being recorded, so we'd ask that when you're asked to speak, that you come up to the microphone and recognize that you're being watched in a good way. But if you could all initially raise your right hand, and Mr. Bryce to my far left will swear you in.
All right, do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, names, do we have names?
Thank you.
Okay.
Probably good.
Okay. Ms. Hecker?
Good morning. Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg, on behalf of the applicant. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Page on his appointment and say that it's nice to see Commissioner Jones here today. It's been a while since we've been in front of you. I'm joined by my colleague, Justin Williams, as well as the licensee applicants. We have with us Jill Antos and Brian Arnold and Ian Bukowski, who are our three licensee applicants. Mr. Bukowski is our Baltimore City resident licensee. We're also joined by Brendan Curlin, who's one of their partners who will be predominantly involved in running the restaurant portion of the operation here. This is an application for a new Class B restaurant liquor license for 3622 to 24 Falls Road. It will be used in conjunction with a Class 7 microbrewery license issued by the state. Under state law, the Class 7 license can only be issued to the holder of a Class B license, so we're here to do that part first before they proceed with the state licensing. The requirements for the Class B license are a seating capacity of 75 persons, a capital investment of $200,000, and average daily receipts from the sale of food being 40% of the total daily receipts from the restaurant. Now, Nepenthe Homebrew LLC currently operates in Meadow Mill. They operate Baltimore's only beer making and brew on premises shop. Ms. Santos and Mr. Arnold founded it in 2012. They are homebrew enthusiasts who wanted to make the hobby more accessible to other folks in Baltimore, and so they have started by opening a store to provide kits and grains and ingredients for home brewing of beer, and then they obtained state and federal approvals, to offer on-premises brewing to customers who come in, and they'll actually brew and ferment and bottle the beer on the premises. And I've included in the file that Mr. Williams handed out an article from the Baltimore Sun that describes their current operations in Meadow Mill. But as I'm sure you've heard, Meadow Mill tends to flood, and so they are looking for new space on higher ground. They're also planning to expand into a more extensive brewery and restaurant operation. They've been, as I said, very successful in their homebrew store, and we feel that there is a need for the expansion that they're proposing. Nepenthe, interestingly, derives its name from Homer's Odyssey. It was a potion that was described as banishing grief or trouble from one's mind. So we think that's appropriate as the name of a brewery. They're moving up to 3622 Falls Road in Hamden. It's just north of the avenue at West 36th Street. In the file, you'll see there are some aerial photos from Google that show the proposed location. It's about 11,000 square feet. It's in a building that's currently vacant, but was most recently occupied by David's First and 10 Sports Bar. They're proposing to operate Nepenthe Brewing Company, which will be a 3,500 square foot craft beer focused restaurant on the ground floor of the premises. They'll also have the retail hobby shop component for the home brew enthusiasts with materials, ingredients, and whatever other equipment and supplies one needs for home brewing of beer. And they'll also obviously have a brewery component where they'll be brewing beer both for on-premises consumption and a limited amount for off-site consumption as well under their Class 7 license from the state. I've included in the file a letter from the zoning administrator confirming that all of these uses are permitted at this location. And you'll also see in the file a copy of their conceptual menu, which you'll see it's very designed to be very accessible. We would like this to be a place that neighbors come in on a regular basis, to enjoy, a beer and a sandwich. We also have included in the file a floor plan showing the layout of both the proposed restaurant as well as the brewery and other components of the operation. The seating plan shows 124 seats as well as 18 bar seats in the restaurant portion. You'll also see the homebrew store located along Cairns Lane on the lower level as well as the brewery in the lower level of the building. We're not proposing to have any live entertainment or outdoor table service. With regard to the capital investment, we've included their construction budget in the file. It shows a capital investment of about $2.1 million, which includes about $500,000 in equipment costs alone. So they greatly exceed the $200,000 capital investment requirement. We've been meeting extensively with the local community association, and you'll see in the file that there is a memorandum of understanding with the Hamden Community Council and the Hamden Village Merchants Association, and there are also letters of support from both groups in the file as well. They're planning to hire about 25 employees, about 22 of whom will work in the restaurant. With regard to the license requirements, in terms of the seating capacity of 75 persons, our floor plan, as I said, shows 124 seats as well as 18 bar stools. They greatly exceed the capital investment requirement of $200,000, having a total investment of about $2.1 million, and they don't expect to have any difficulty meeting the 40% of average daily receipts from the sale of food. The individual licensee applicants are all authorized individuals of Nepenthe Homebrew LLC. Mr. Arnold was a former teacher in the Baltimore City public school system. He and his wife, Ms. Santos, have operated Nepenthe Homebrew since March of 2012. Mr. Bukowski, as I said, is our city resident. He's been a city resident since 2012 as well. All of the applicants are familiar with the rules and regulations of the City Liquor Board and agree to abide by them. Their policy will be to check the IDs of everyone purchasing alcoholic beverages. They have not had any violations at their current location at Nepenthe Homebrew. With regard to the factors that the board's required to consider, the public need and desire for the license, we believe there definitely is a public need and desire both to activate the vacant space on Falls Road, but also to fill this niche market of craft brewing and home brewing of beer. It's demonstrated by the letters of support from the community associations that we have in the file. I also note that I think this was raised at a hearing that I didn't participate in but was at a few weeks ago. On another brewery, and that, the question was raised about, do we need another brewery in Baltimore? And the answer is yes, we do. Maryland lags behind most of the other states in terms of craft breweries per capita. It turns out Maryland is 36th out of 50 states in terms of the number of breweries that we have. And I've included in the file a comparison of Maryland to Pennsylvania, just by way of example, in terms of the economic impact that craft breweries offer. And we're here really on the restaurant component, but we think that the brewery is obviously a big piece of that, and the two work in synergy with one another. With regard to the number and location of existing licensees, there are also other licensees in Hamden. This restaurant will be located in the space of where a previous licensee was located, so there is precedent for a license at this location. We don't expect that this license will have any negative impact on other licensees. And interestingly, with regard to the brewery component, one of the unique aspects of the craft brewing industry is that they really do complement one another. So to the extent that there are more breweries located in proximity to one another, they tend to collaborate with each other, and it tends to be good for all of them to have more than one in the vicinity. With regard to the uniqueness of services, the homebrew component here certainly is a unique service that is only offered at Nepenthe. There are no other homebrew services offered in Baltimore City. And within Hamden immediately, there are no other similar restaurant concepts. We don't believe that the issuance of the restaurant license will have any negative impact on general health, safety, or welfare. As I said, the community supports it. We have letters of support from both community associations and an MOU with both of the groups in the file. So we expect, we plan to be a good neighbor and abide by the terms of the MOU. So for these reasons, we would request that the board approve the issuance of the new Class B license for this location. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. A couple questions I have. I recall you had mentioned, Ms. Hecker, a previous hearing about a brewery. One of the issues that was raised, and I think is a very legitimate one, is with respect to deliveries, traffic along that route, although this is a very different route than what I think we were comparing before.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit to that? I do note that there is, in the MOU, which we will submit into evidence in the packet, you've provided, that there is accommodations for parking between the community and prospective licensee. Can you speak a little bit to deliveries and those kinds of issues? I know this is a well-traveled corridor.
Yes. Falls Road obviously is a very busy road. The deliveries will come in on the other side on Karen's Lane, so not to block the traffic on Falls Road.
Okay.
It's really.
Okay. And as you mentioned, your clients are familiar with the rules and regulations. If you could, just for I think my own edification, explain, you had mentioned federal and state regulations that they have already.
In their existing location.
Correct. Can
for
you
the
just
homebrew
explain that
component.
to me?
Well, to be fair, I wasn't involved in their licensing for their existing location, but perhaps I can defer to Ms. Santos or Mr. Arnold in terms of the current permits and licenses that you have.
So in our current location where we operate the homebrew retail store and the brew on premise, we carry a state license called the Maryland Family Beer and Wine Facility Permit. That permit allows us to provide equipment and expertise to homebrewers to come into the store and actually brew on site. From a legal perspective, the beer always belongs to them. It's always homebrew. It's not ours, so we can't legally produce beer in the current location. When we move uphill to this location, the Class 7 microbrewery license is a state license that allows us to produce that beer ourselves and sell it to consumers. And then the federal licensing for breweries is a complicated process that we're working through. But the federal license will be in place before the state license.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, any questions?
Just a couple. Excuse me. When you move location, if this is approved, will you still be allowing people to come in and do their home brews at your location, or will that end?
We do intend to allow that. We're likely going to discontinue it for the first couple of months while we kind of get our feet under us because the licensing works a little bit differently. So the Maryland Family Beer and Wine Facility Permit disallows the sale of alcoholic beverages. We've spoken to Lou Berman, who is the inspector for the comptroller's office, and he has, with multiple wine facilities in the state, worked so that they can still do the same thing, but where it's considered always to be, it would be our beer that we are brewing and selling to the consumer. We would pay taxes on it. It would go into our paperwork to the comptroller and to the federal government.
Okay. And you can envision a system to separate your brew from
Yes.
that of others?
Yes, so as it's set up right now, we have discrete kettles on natural gas burners in our store. So the difference in scale between where a customer would be brewing and where we'll be brewing on a full-size brewery system is pretty vast. There will be a physical separation as well.
Okay. So I was the one that asked the question, do we need another brewery? And my specific issue was the concentration of breweries in Baltimore City in close proximity to one another. And you're not particularly close to the one that we just authorized on Guilford Avenue and the one that's at 30th and Barclay Street. But are you,
I'm not familiar with the one on
30th and Barclay is, oh God, it's right,
that's Peabody Heights.
Peabody Heights, yeah, it's right down the street from me. So I know it. But I guess since that hearing, I went to Richmond, Virginia, and picked up a little pamphlet, and they have the beer trail, the home. Are you familiar with this? So the question I guess I have is, do you envision really capitalizing on this, maybe saturation is not the word, but the sort of the sopping of breweries in Baltimore City and doing some joint marketing?
Absolutely, yes. One of the things that is attractive about the brewery community is that unlike a lot of other industries, it is much more collaborative than competitive. We know people at every brewery in the city. We are friends with them. We see each other at beer festivals. We know them very well. We'd all be thrilled to collaborate. Caroline alluded to tourism dollars. This is a big deal in the brewery industry. The higher the concentration of breweries, the more you get, weekend warriors from the county, people who come into the city and bring those dollars in because they want to visit breweries.
Right.
We are not exceptionally far from Waverly Brewing Company and Union Craft Brewing, and we have relationships with them. And
So the next question I have really, it's just a curiosity because I'm not the beer baron, so to speak.
No, he's going to tweet that.
Dana Moore is not the beer baron. Okay, there it is. It's out there. Big secret. What is it about the industry that leads to such or fosters such collaboration and cohesion and just general niceness with one another?
I think it's partially a passion for making good beer, but it's also partially rooted in the fact that craft beer shares is still a very small market share of the overall beer market. It's about 12% as of last check. The other 88% belongs to Anheuser-Busch InBev and Miller Coors. So there is kind of a David and Goliath relationship there where, Anheuser-Busch and Miller Coors owns distributors. They are, making efforts to kind of slow the growth of craft. So all the craft breweries are really kind of in it together to carve out this piece for people who appreciate beers that taste like something.
Okay, okay, as opposed to something else. So there's a school. There's, I think, an elementary and middle school right around the corner from where you're going. Have you put that into your calculation and how your business will or will not have any impact or some impact on that school?
I, as a former Baltimore City high school teacher, actually know one of the administrators at ACE, Jerry Allen. We see kids from those schools after school kind of come down toward the Jones Falls where we are now. We don't see a lot of them moving toward the avenue. I think a lot of the kids in that school feel like they're out of place there, which is something I encountered a lot when I was teaching. So I don't think that we're going to have a lot of interaction with the school or the school children. Cairns Lane being an alley right now, there is kind of an increased possibility of kids who are cutting class or something making trouble back there. But my understanding is that Cairns is going to be repaved. There are a number of new luxury townhomes being built back there. So I think, I wouldn't say that we anticipate significant problems.
Okay, so I guess I really wasn't looking for any problems from the students, but just you're just aware that they're there.
Yes.
You're aware that they come through. You're aware that the delivery trucks can be an issue. You're aware that, there can be disruptions, and you're mindful of that, and you will conduct your business accordingly.
Absolutely. I would say after a little over 4 years in business with 2 floods, 3 sewer backups, and a number of other issues. We're pretty much prepared to deal with anything.
Yeah.
To addend what Caroline mentioned earlier about deliveries, not only can we take deliveries in the rear on Cairns Lane, we actually have an interior loading dock. So
Super,
we can move trucks in there.
super, super. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Before I turn over to Commissioner Jones, can you let me know, what are your hours, and specifically, who is going to be managing the day-to-day? Will it be you? Will it be someone else?
So the day-to-day operations are going to be kind of shared between myself, Jill, and Brendan. In broad strokes, Jill is kind of overseeing the store, I'm overseeing the brewery, and Brendan's overseeing the restaurant, but all three of us will be parts of each. Anticipated hours Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to midnight, Friday, 4 p.m. to 1 a.m., and then on the weekends, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. to serve brunch, and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And those hours are listed on the bottom of the concept layout.
Great.
They know that'll be part of the.
Yeah. Commissioner Jones?
Only one thing, it's a well-traveled corridor, easing from 83. Just for the record, parking, how will you relieve the neighborhood from a parking problem?
So the Hampton community has recently instituted a valet parking program they call the Park and Go. They have dedicated zones for valet drop-off for that program, none of which are actually on Falls Road. This was one of the conversations that we had both with the Community Council and in particular the Merchants Association. There was concern that putting a valet zone on Falls Road would create a backup, which we absolutely agree with. One of the reasons that the MOU allows them to reserve the right to require us valet is because that's not something they want to pursue because of the potential traffic issues. But the Park and Go, the next Park and Go location is just a block away in front of Cafe Hun.
Okay. So let me walk through the exhibits if I could and what we have here, and then let me also make clear that, let me ask, you understand that the memorandum of understanding between the licensee and the Hampton Community Council and the Hampton Village Merchants Association will be part of the license?
Yes.
Okay. So based on that, based upon the evidence before us, including the memorandum of understanding, including letters of support from each, the Hampton Village Merchants Association, Hampton Community Council, also based upon the meeting's minimum seating capacity, the capital investment that is required at $200,000. You far exceeded that to $2.1 million. Based on all of that evidence, I would support your application for a new Class B beer, wine, liquor, restaurant license. Commissioner Moore?
I concur. A lot of thoughts gone into this. You've given a lot of forethought about the issues that tend to stick out for me, and I appreciate that. I concur, and I look forward to the beer trail. The beer trail.
I also agree that we should grant the license, and wish you all the success you have in that location.
Best of luck. Best of
Thank you
luck.
all.
Best of
Ms.
luck.
Russell?
Yes. I'd like to call exhibits for the file. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan package. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here, you can have mine doesn't have the, I gave you my MOU.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Here, I have two memos.
So do I.
Package
We're
someone
really
you have.
meaning for that MOU to stick. Right. So it's 3-0, right?
Yeah, 3.
Number 2 on the AM docket, Benjamin Marshall, contract purchaser, trading as Becker's Tavern, 3820 East Pratt Street. This is a Class D beer and wine license, a request for a hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-2202. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky representing Mr. Moschel.
Good morning, Mr. Moschel. Can you raise your right hand, and Ms. Bryce will swear you in.
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do.
This is a request for a hardship extension. Mr. Moschel is a contract purchaser, having purchased the properties from Miss Melanie Becker. The Becker family owned this property as well as other properties in that area for a long period of time. Her husband had passed away, and she was having a tough time keeping the place open and running it. She works at Mercy Hospital. She is in maintenance over there and has a full-time job. She approached Mr. Moschel and his group, and they had purchased, and the last day she was open was December 31st of 2016. They purchased the property along with, it's a beer and wine license, and they're in the process of now marketing it to try to get the license transferred and to reopen. The hardship would be that without a necessary component of the license, it'd be hard to market a property that's actually essentially set up as a tavern and a bar. It's been that for quite a period of time. Mr. Moschel is, of course, a contract purchaser. He has no intention of operating the place, can't operate. It's been renewed, and he would need a hardship extension. There are 2 or 3 different groups have been making proposals at this point, but we don't know they'll be completed within 180 days.
Okay, so to make sure I understand this fully, so Mr. Moschel is the contract purchaser. It has not been finalized yet.
It's been transferred to him as a contract purchaser.
Right.
So it's in his name.
It's in his name. He has no intention of operating Becker's or any establishment should the license be reopened.
Correct. As a board, as a contract purchaser and a secured party, they're in the same thing. They cannot operate in a place. They're just holding it for further disposition on it. And that's what they're doing at this place. In fact, they're in a process even today of talking to some people who may decide that they may want to come in. If they want to try to develop the property where they can put a food component, most of these places, as you were all talking here, with what's called the millennials, you can see, okay? They're all into these little niche things where they're going forward.
By the way, Harvey takes offense at that. He's a millennial. Doesn't like that.
I met Mr. Jones, we just had.
It doesn't really matter how old he is. The only
That's what
issue
I
is,
always said.
the only issue is whether we grant the hardship, if there is in fact a hardship. So can we just focus on that?
Well, the hardship is that they would, there's an asset that they have that they wouldn't be able to dispose of the property with the license. The hardship is that it wouldn't have any value, where they tried to help Ms. Becker out so that she could go move on.
Okay. Any questions?
So, as I hear it, the hardship is he has not found a buyer.
They found buyers, but, I don't know, the trend has been that I've seen now, you've got more sellers than you have buyers, and you've got buyers who don't have any money. And that's the problem that we're having here, and they've had 2 or 3 people that have come forward, and they're in fact negotiating with 2 or 3 of them that may come to fruition, but as of right now, no. They had one that came forward, they thought they were going to make it, and it fell apart.
So what that says to me is that it's not a hardship, it's the market is changing and that there's not a market for this license. So why, I'm struggling to see where the hardship is.
The hardship is, as an example, if you had $15 in your pocket, and that took your $15 away, the hardship was you don't have your $15
No, the hardship is that you're going to probably be prosecuted for theft.
Well,
for taking my money.
That could be so.
That's the way to look at that
I know
one.
I can't run anymore, so they would definitely catch me, that's for sure. But that's just, the hardship would be is that was part of the assets that they have, that asset wasn't available to them, they would not be able to sell the property, and have a vacant piece of property.
What efforts have there been to try to sell this license?
They've been marketing it since they bought it in the middle of January.
Okay. Do you have any specifics
Yeah,
about?
state your name and address to the record.
My name is Ben Moschel. My address is 2126 Caves Road.
21 what?
26 Caves Road.
Okay.
Can you explain what you've been doing to try to market the
Yeah,
property?
I've been dealing a lot with actual restaurant owners in the neighborhood. I don't know if I should name the names or not.
I just want to know, what you've done to try to sell this license and not be in a hardship situation.
Well, I dealt with, I'd say, 3 or 4 restaurant owners who were very interested. All of them had their own situations of why it hasn't gone through yet, so it's really up in the air with who we're going to be selling the property along with the license to, but it's in process right now. So.
Okay.
So what I'm struggling with is, did you purchase this with the intention? I mean, were you a secured creditor? Is that what?
No, they purchased it because Ms. Becker, who was trying to operate it, her husband had passed away. She was a surviving spouse, and they were trying to help her because she was struggling with the place and had her job. And they said, well, we'll buy it, and then we'll try to market it. It was that piece of property, and then she had another piece.
We're very involved in the neighborhood in Highlandtown, and we do a lot of other things there. So Ms. Becker approached us, and basically, as already described, she was in a situation, her husband passed away, and she couldn't really, hold the burden of running the restaurant there, so they closed down.
And who is we?
My other partners, my brother, and 2 other gentlemen.
Is there a corporation that's?
It's a LLC.
What is the name
Highlandtown
of?
Community Ventures.
Highlandtown Community
Ventures.
Ventures.
Yes.
One of the purchasers is Mr. Zanino, the Zanino family up in Highlandtown that owns the funeral parlors up there, parlor, singular. And they've been involved in Highlandtown for quite a time and also been in some property development.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jones?
Do you have any evidence with you showing that you put forth the effort to market this property? Somebody you paid?
Yes.
Seed or some copy of some flyer that you put out?
I can provide that upon request. I can go on my phone if you'd like me to.
I'm good.
Commissioner Moore, any questions?
No.
Based upon the information, the evidence in front of us, I will, I'll agree to grant the hardship.
I'll agree to grant it. It just, but I just have to say, it just seems like there's not the market for it. And, I mean, good luck. Hopefully, it'll work, because I don't think we get to do a second a second hardship extension. Oh, yeah, I guess we do. Never mind. Blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking of
One get-
transfers. Just delete. But anyway, best of luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I do believe that the property without the license would present a hardship, so I agree also.
Thank you.
And I think, so the answer is we grant the hardship. I think what Commissioner Moore is suggesting, and I think I tend to agree with her, is you may have to kind of adjust how you market this and what you're looking for, because, if you come back before us on another hardship, we may be a bit more reluctant. So, I encourage you to kind of think that through.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
No exhibits for the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Third case on the AM docket, Mr. Chairman, Shireen Gray, SOS Bar and Lounge, LLC, trading as SOS Bar and Lounge, 2511 East Fayette Street. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license, a request for hardship extension. Please come forward.
Good morning, Ms. Gray. Ms.
Good
Gray, I
morning.
assume?
Yes.
Okay, your full name?
Shireen Yvette Gray.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me?
How do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Gray, you, I understand from what you have provided the agency, you are seeking a hardship extension for SOS Bar and Lounge at 2511 East Fayette Street, 21224. Is that correct?
Yes, but I no longer own the building. I'm s-
Do you own the license?
Yes, I own the
Okay.
license.
So we're just here on the license itself.
Okay.
Okay, so let's speak to the license. The letter you submitted on March 30th, 2017, requested a hardship due to family medical emergency. You were unable to operate the establishment. You'd obviously like to keep your current license intact.
Yes.
And that you also note that your business ceased on November of 2016.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to explain further the hardship?
Yes. Y'all gonna hear me cry. I lost my only sister.
Sorry. It's okay. Take your time.
And when I lost my sister, I stopped going, I let other people step in and help out with the establishment. And I didn't find out that they weren't paying the bills until it was too late. So,
Okay. Here, have some. You okay?
All right, so
Do you
I
want?
don't-
We have tissues.
we have no tissues. Does anybody in the audience have a tissue that we
Do you
can?
want to take a minute? Are you sure?
Yeah, so I think, do you want to do a recap just?
Yes. Okay. So.
so I would like to try to hold on to my license and give me a chance to regroup because I had just lost interest in everything. And I'm still in the process of whether or not I want to try to find another location or give me a chance to try to sell them or find another location
Okay.
in the
So-
46th district.
So we appreciate it. I think, speaking for all of us, we're truly sorry for your loss.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, if I may. During the course of all this, Mr. Ray did keep the agency informed of what was going on a regular basis, not only with the business, but with her family as well. And based on our advice, that's why she is here today, to protect her asset.
And we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Ms. Gray, you've met the deadlines for this submission to request a hardship. Again, truly sorry for your loss. I think going forward, to the degree that the staff and the agency can help you kind of put the pieces back together and help you, we're here and ready to assist. We want you to be successful. We want you to get back up and running after this tragedy. And so for these reasons, you've met, well, let me turn it over. Commissioner Moore, if you have any questions or thoughts.
I don't have any questions. I think I understand. I just wanted to, if I could, if it's okay with, just to recap so that the record is really clear. I know that you've been in communication with the office, and that's great. That's exactly what we want people to do, so they get good guidance and good advice. But my understanding is that I don't recall the year that your sister passed away, but whatever year that was, she was your only.
It was the end of 2015, and it was my only sister. We were 11 months apart and really tight, so.
Right,
It was,
in some cultures, she's your twin.
Right.
So in 2015, your sister passed away. It was very, very devastating for you. It would be for anyone, especially so close. You lost interest in the business. It sounds like you were not able to go in, that you trusted your staff and your employees to keep things going, and it wasn't until it was way too late that you
when
found
I got
out.
a notice in the mail saying it was up for auction is when I found out.
That the building was up for auction
Yes.
because bills hadn't been paid. And
Right.
so I'm understanding that you did lose the building to auction, but you still have the license.
Yes.
So those are the facts, and so I just wanted to recount those so that it's clear. Okay?
Thank you,
All right.
Commissioner Moore.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
Just to echo on that, to piggyback on that, you did everything that this board asked you to do. But whatever decision we make here today, if it's in your favor, continue to be in contact with the board so that you make
I
sure
will.
that your direction is clear.
Right.
And that's important, both what the Commissioner Jones and Moore said, because there are certain legal timelines that you have to meet or the license goes away. And it sounds to me like you're making every effort to kind of get back and look at transferring locations, et cetera. So based upon the record, based upon your submission and your testimony, I would grant the hardship extension.
Thank you.
I concur.
I concur as well, and just on a personal note, I understand. You don't know how you're going to react to a loss until it happens. And many of us are surprised at how we react, and so I understand, and my heart goes out to you.
Thank you. And I would like to thank Mr. Douglas Page and Stacy for just the support since my sister passed and with my license and all that I've been going through. So I thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Best of luck.
No exhibits for the record.
Do you have any paper? Does she have any? She has a little form she needs to give you. We look forward to you coming back with huge success. All right?
Mustafa Jackson Roberto Silva, 414 LLC, trading as King and Diamonds, 414-16 East Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and a Class AE adult entertainment license. A request to reopen after being closed for 3 consecutive months. Please come forward.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Silva.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Can you please raise your right hand and state your name for the record? And Bryson will swear you in.
My name is Roberto Silva.
Mustafa Jackson.
Good morning. So you have submitted to the commission on April 21st a request to reopen after being closed for more than 90 days.
Yes, sir.
Can you, I do recall you being here before on a request for extension, and we had, as I recall, a lengthy discussion. But can you please tell me the status of where things stands?
Oh, that's where I'm at first.
I'm sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Oh, I thought you,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm rookie chairman here.
That's the, I think we're all baffled by the last person up here. I was moved.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
And just so I'm clear, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Silva, based on the ownership breakdown of the license, you both are not the owners of the license. Is that correct?
Mr. Jack, no.
Is anyone here who is an owner?
Right there, Mr. Jackson.
Why wouldn't he come up?
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Jackson. Please, if you could, raise your right hand, and this time I'll allow Bryce to swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your first name, sir?
Kenneth.
Kenneth. Thank you. If you could explain, as I mentioned, I do recall you having been before the board some time ago for a hardship extension, but now you're seeking to reopen. Can you please explain where things stand and the efforts you've made to reopen?
Well, what I did, I brought him in.
Who's him?
Roberto Silva, I'm
Roberto,
sorry.
Along with my son.
Right.
They're actually going to be running and operating the club. He has 50% once the notice paid off, and my son will be a part of it. So what they're going to do is they remodeled it already. It's not going to be specifically adult entertainment. They may use the license, they may not, but it's going to be a regular club or lounge. Predominantly, you will have access if they choose to use adult entertainment. If they choose to use it, they still want the license intact. So that's the position that we're in.
Yes.
And we submitted for hardship, which was granted. Now we're ready to open.
Okay. Can you explain the status that you had mentioned, a note? I do have in our documents that you're currently, based on our documents, this could be incorrect though, that the entity is not in good standing. Can you?
It is.
It is.
Do you have any evidence to demonstrate
I
that?
think I bought the clearance. I'm glad I brought it. This was the last clearance to the state of Maryland.
Thank you.
No problem.
One second, please.
Oh, no problem.
So you've provided us a certification from the State Department of Assessment and Taxation
April 6th, yeah, okay.
that shows that the entity 414 LLC is in good standing.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
We will submit this for evidence.
Okay.
So if you could explain for me, just for my own understanding, the adult entertainment license, you still want, I mean, there are two licenses here, right? I mean, essentially, there's a liquor
Correct.
license and an adult entertainment license, correct?
Correct.
And you're seeking to reopen both?
Yes, we're going to use both licenses at a time, but we're not going to have adult entertainment all the time. That's not the way we market it. That's not what we're going to present.
Okay.
I mean, to have the ability to use it when we need it, we're going to do that.
Okay.
But that's not what we want to do every day.
One last question, and I'll turn it over to the commissioners. Mr. Jackson, one question I have is, you had mentioned that it sounded like which is fine, you're going to delegate some responsibility to your son and Mr. Silva.
Yes.
I'm not actually delegating.
Explain that.
They're purchasing it. They're gonna own it, they're gonna operate it.
And you understand you have to come back before the commission for that transfer?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Commissioner Moore?
So who is Mustafa Jackson? That's you. So it looks like, are you already on the license?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and Roberto Silva, that's you, but you're not on the license, but you're the contract, you've got a contract to purchase 50%.
And I believe I am on the license now.
Roberto Silva, you are on the license.
So,
And your name is,
Kenneth Jackson.
but you're not on the license. You're not on the liquor license, and you're not on the adult entertainment,
No.
but you own the building. Do I have that right?
No. I had the company. My son had the license.
He owns the company.
let's.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
So you don't own the building? Okay.
So I'm actually a little bit confused. Maybe Mr. Page or Mr.
Oh, I
Ackers
see. So wait,
can clarify.
all right, so Mustafa Jackson, you're not on you currently have 0% interest, but you have no percentage of interest. Roberto Silva, currently 0% interest, but you've negotiated to get 50%.
Yes.
And you got to pay it before you get it,
Yes.
is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And then Kenneth Jackson, that's you. You're currently 50% owner of the business, right? And then there's a William Shepard who owns the other 50%. Is he here?
William Shepard is not a part of it any longer. That's his 50%.
Yes.
So you're going to take over William's 50%?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I understand. And then the business model is you want to reopen more as just a regular club, and you don't envision doing adult entertainment right away, and certainly not every day.
Yes, ma'am.
You want the license so that if you decide to do something special, a special event,
Exactly.
you're covered.
Yes, ma'am.
Or uncovered, as the case may be.
Yes.
This is
That
a
was
crazy
actually a
day.
funny joke. I'm sorry.
We need the chairman back here.
No idea.
So I have it. I got it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Yes, go speak.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
sorry.
go.
And our reasoning, and if I can speak to the court, I know Stacy, and I've heard Mr. Page from my good friend Larry. My reasoning for really wanting to be a part of this is that when I was here last time, I mentioned
DJ.
I'm a
I
DJ.
remember.
Yeah, I am a DJ.
Yes.
But I just noticed I'm born and raised here in Baltimore. I've been in Washington D.C. DJing on the radio and doing clubs for the last 15 years. And what I noticed with the upscale urban black community in Baltimore, they've been complaining for quite some time that there's no venues downtown. So I noticed, and I actually did a survey in D.C. that 40% of my clientele that are upscale urban community, they come to D.C. to party. And they always say that we need somewhere downtown in Baltimore that feels safe, that's clean, that's not, for lack of a better term, just a rinky-dink club downtown. So that's really what we intend to bring to the venue now. Just a different experience that I honestly believe that Baltimore has not seen. I know there's a lot of lounges in Federal Hill and other places, but downtown Baltimore, if I'm an upscale, urban person, I really don't have too many options to party in downtown Baltimore right now. So that's really what we intend to bring.
Mr. Jones?
Nothing. I think I understand the concept.
No problem.
Great. If there's nothing more, I do applaud you guys for getting your house in order, so to speak.
Yeah, nice.
I do recall when you were here before, there were some issues, and it sounds like you've got a plan and a strategy, and it's a great thing. So based upon the evidence and the testimony, I would agree to grant the reopening of the license.
Thank you.
I do as well.
Thank you so much.
So do I, but stay in alignment. Stay in alignment.
I promise you I will. Stacy's gonna stay on me if I don't.
And Commissioner Jones is absolutely right. We're very, we encourage, as you can probably tell, folks to reach out to our staff if you have any questions. Last thing we want is for you to come back on an afternoon docket for a violation. So please feel free to reach out. Okay?
Do we
Best
have
of luck.
to announce our reopen date, Grant?
Reopen date should be, I assume.
So, Mr. Chairman, they're not allowed to reopen until the agency have current trader's license. All current and up-to-date licenses must be submitted before we release the license.
So what do they need
I
to
have
do?
the
It's really up to the
Okay. Do you-
licensees.
Do you understand what Mr. Page is?
I couldn't hear you say. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So if you would, Tom, could you?
Yeah.
let-
Oh.
Sure.
Yeah, why
All
don't-
current licensing, traders, health department,
Food service.
Oh, we have all that.
Okay.
and we would allow you to submit
Oh,
those
no
to
problem.
staff.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay.
Not doing this.
And-
Oh, I'm
in
sorry.
your-
I'm
So
sorry.
that's not an issue that comes before the board, but Mr. Akris and staff will work with you to get that set and get your license, as soon as possible.
I just have one question. Who is your good friend Larry that says good things about Mr. Page?
Larry Young.
Oh, okay. Great.
He talked highly of Mr. Page.
I'm still on the record, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're right, you're fine.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
We have one exhibit.
Yes. I'd like to call exhibit.
Oh, my.
Licensee Exhibit 1, letter of good standing dated 4/6/2017. Thank you.
And you can work with Ms. Russell to get that back and figure all of that out afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you can head over now,
We're
actually.
going to take those things at the office, you just have to visit the office.
You need a copy of that?
Yeah, you're gonna need a
Letter of good
copy of
standing? No, it's part of the record.
Was that your original?
Um,
Sure, we can make a
make a
copy for our records, sure.
You'll get it over. Okay.
I like this.
What's that? They did that on purpose because Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, take 5 minutes. Thanks.
It'll
Sure.
be a minute.
No.
No, 5 minutes is good because I got to go all the way. Oh, sure.
I'm sure I can make it another 10 minutes. It's pretty pathetic.
Y'all gonna make this. I went to the fastball. But if you,
Okay, all right.
it's an entertainment game.
Hi, Detective, how are you, sir?
I don't want no passing. Show me something. Give me a highlight. Oh,
Like the Golden State Warriors.
I like when you break a player down, they go isolation and break a player down. I like that. I don't like in the college and high school break though. Passing, that's why I like the high school. And the pros.
I know, you two, both of you. You're just like puddles.
Let's just get this done.
Chairman, the very last case on the AM docket, Kendrick Gooden and Ennis Gooden, Elite Lounge LLC, trading as Elite Lounge, 1571 Ridgely Street. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of Rule 3.08A, sanitation and safety, on February the 17th, 2017. Here for violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, on March the 25th, 2017. Please come forward and raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Mr. Godin?
Yes, correct.
And you, sir?
John Callendeck.
John Cal.
Secured creditor and property owner.
John, spell that, please.
Sir, can you just get close to the thing?
Kalendek.
And which Mr. Godin, or Kendrick?
Kendrick.
All right, so we have in front of us a violation for sanitation and safety and illegal conduct stemming from Mr. Godin, if I have this correctly, using generators to power your establishment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I think it's appropriate for, well, let me ask you this. Will this be an admission? Will you admit to the charges?
Yes.
Okay. You will.
Yes.
If I could, let me, for the record, Inspector Christomalis, just read into the record what you have observed.
John Christomalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board. On or about February 17th, 2017, at approximately 10:55 p.m., I, Agent Christomalis, while working with a social task force consisting of members of the Baltimore City Vice, Baltimore Housing Authority, Baltimore City Fire Department Fire Marshal's Office, and the Baltimore City Liquor Board, visited Elite Lounge located at 1571 Ridgely Street in the city of Baltimore, state of Maryland. We went to the location due to complaints that the establishment did not have BG&E and was running its main source of power from a generator. When we arrived at the location, we were met by the owner, Mr. Kenrick Clarence Gooden, identified by a Maryland driver's license. Mr. Gooden was asked if he was operating on a generator, and he acknowledged that he was. Mr. Gooden took the members of the task force in the back, where 2 generators were located under a tarp. During the inspection, we discovered that the establishment also had 2 propane heaters running inside for a source of heat. The fire marshal at the time explained to the operator that the establishment needed to be closed due to the fire code. The operator was cooperative during this process, and the establishment was cleared out. The fire marshal issued citations at the location for the violations. The task force exited the location without any further incident. Also with me, I have Detective Greenhill and Special Investigator from Housing, and he can testify on to what specific code violations the licensee was cited for.
If you could, Inspector. And your name one more time?
Investigator David McGinnis, Baltimore Housing Special Investigation Unit. Do you need my entire narrative, or it's the same thing, just
If
violations?
it's the same thing, that's fine. Were there any housing codes?
Yes, sir. We issued 2 violation notices on February 24th, 2017. First, to restore the primary power source, and the second is to restore the primary heat source. Because there was no functional electric, the property was being heated with kerosene heaters, which was a violation of fire code as well. We issued those violations, contacted BG&E customer service on March 3rd, and they confirmed, or I contacted them on April 6th. They confirmed that on March 3rd, Mr. Godin did restore power to the unit, and my notices were abated on April 6, 2017.
Great. Just from my understanding, Investigator McGinnis, if you could explain to me, what is the, what could happen given the circumstances with respect to a generator and the kerosene? What are the potential options that could occur?
One of the major issues would be fire code, because the generators do not produce a sufficient output of electricity to operate all the electrical systems within a property. So as such, you could possibly overload one of those circuits, which could lead to an electrical fire.
Okay.
And then you also have the inhalation for using a kerosene heater. Obviously, there could be some inhalation issues there, which could cause breathing difficulties for customers.
Thank you.
Sir.
Question. Was this work done under permit?
No, sir. To my knowledge, there were no permits pulled on the property.
So, will anybody investigate whether or not one was needed?
It was forwarded on to Housing Code Enforcement. I do not know the status of that. We only followed up on the notice to restore the primary electric and primary heat source.
Do you know, before I turn it over, do you know if Mr. Godin has, you had mentioned that he was cited?
Yes, sir.
Was anything paid by him to the city for any agency that issued a violation?
I did not look on the status of the citation to see if they had been paid. I can call to the office while we're...
I'll ask Mr. Godin. Lieutenant Greenhill?
My report pretty much, and it's just detective.
Detective, well, listen. He's in front of us, so
Obviously.
My report's pretty much concurs with Agent Christomalis.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Moore, do you have any questions?
I think on this one, I'd like to defer to Commissioner Jones.
All right, you say citation. A lot of times folks interpret a notice as a citation. Was it a notice or was it a citation?
Well, I know we issued a notice. I would have to double check if I issued a citation or not. We did approximately 9 inspections that night on different properties. So I would have to go back through my records to see if a citation was issued. I cannot recall off the top of my head.
No, the only citation I got was from the fire marshal. I just got a
Was
note.
that one with a fine attached to it?
Yeah, it was just for the generator.
Did you pay the fine already?
No, I haven't paid the fine yet.
When do you plan to pay it?
Today, I mean, I was on my way, but my landlord said I had to be here at 11. I thought I was supposed to be at 1, so
How much was the fine?
$250.
Did you get a permit for the electrical and the heating equipment that was replaced or corrected?
Everything was corrected through BG&E, so
Did you get a permit for the work that was done?
yes, it was submitted through the electrician. The electrician submitted all the paperwork, the BG&E.
What's the permit number?
That I don't know. I had to call BG&E.
No, BG&E can't tell you that.
They directed me to, they have, it's somebody who does the permits, so I don't know who that agency was. That was the only way I could have got it back
Well, let me give you
on.
some information so you can check this out.
Okay,
417 East Fayette Street, room 100.
okay.
All right. The work that was done, whether you have a license, you should have had a licensed person to do all of that work. And before that work is done, most of the time, the contractors gets a permit. But if they don't, the owner is still responsible for the permits. So I would suggest very strongly that you check that out, because I will. And if you had the work done without a proper permit, it's a possibility you can be fined as much as $1,500. So you need to know that. 417 East Fayette Street, room 100. Check that out when you leave here.
Okay.
Who did the work? Who did the repairs that were needed to bring this up to code? And
I don't have the information.
I want you to think about it. Did you hire someone, or the building owners who did?
No, I got somebody to put the generators in, and he put the generators in and wired everything according to.
So this is something you decided on your own?
Yes.
The generators?
Yes.
And did you get permission from the landlord to do that work? Or you just thought this was a good way to work around?
No, I didn't think that running a generator is illegal. I didn't.
You just thought that was the way to solve the problem of being cut off by BGE?
Well, there was a lot of things that led up to that. There was already events that was already prepaid for, and I knew it was an event that night and Saturday, and I just wanted to get through that night. It's not like I'm running a generator every night. I'm only open Fridays and Saturdays, and the generator only runs 6 hours, so.
And the kerosene heater, those were, how many heaters were there?
It was 2.
2, and those were obviously inside the property?
Yeah, because it takes a while for the to heat the building up. So
All right, and so you've since gotten the electricity turned
everything
back
has
on?
been taken care of since that day they came, and they told me. I said I didn't know. I called BG&E. Everything was straight. Everything was turned on by the 28th.
All right. How much was owed on the BGE bill?
4,000 and something.
4,000 something.
Yes.
But you've worked it out.
Yeah, everything has been paid. Everything has been on since February the 28th or 29th.
All right. And when did you install the generators?
The 10th or the 12th.
Of what month and
February.
what year?
Of this year.
So February 2017, they were installed?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have an understanding today of the risks that you incurred in this action?
Yeah. Once they came in, I mean, like I said, I wasn't aware, because a lot of businesses have generators. So, but when they said you can't run a generator without a BG&E attached to it, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know. So.
And do you understand the seriousness of having the kerosene heaters inside the property with patrons? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Let me say this out loud, because we haven't mentioned the word of carbon monoxide poisoning, which is a quiet killer, and you got that many folks in that business establishment, you could have had a major tragedy there with that kerosene heater and that generator with no way to exhaust the fumes created by those. So I'm hoping you weren't saying that you had a generator installed now.
No.
Okay. But I got your address here. I will have this checked out. I suggest you move quickly.
Okay.
Inspector McGinnis, did you have something you were?
Well, I did have photographs of the lines running from the generators into the panel box, if you wanted to see them.
Yes, please, we'll accept that in advance.
We have just sampling of the photographs I took.
Thank you. I do want to hear from Mr. Kalendek if you have anything to add, but Mr. Godin, can you also comment? It appears that your
Excuse me.
your corporate charter is forfeited. Have you addressed that with the
Yes,
state?
everything has been taken
Do you
care of.
have any evidence of that?
Yeah.
You've provided a certification from the State Department of Assessment and Taxation indicating that Elite Lounge is in good standing. We will accept that into evidence. Mr. Kalendek, do you have anything to add?
I do. These are very serious charges, and I take them very seriously. And like Commissioner Jones said, people could get hurt. The building could catch on. My building could catch on fire. Obviously, someone getting hurt versus a fire or carbon monoxide are very serious. And it's a commercial property, but I'm not happy to waste a day here for having violations that, you know, we rent a building and it should be expected that you shouldn't have these problems. But he's told me I'm gonna follow up to make sure he does.
So, Mr. Godin, I want to make sure I understand. So it sounds like you've sort of fallen on hard times financially, or there was some issue with respect to financially with your business. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, I was robbed July the 17th of last year, and they took pretty much everything. The previous manager, I don't know if he had something to do with it. I don't want to accuse anybody.
Sure.
Really just kind of starting from ground zero.
So
Didn't pay none of the bills, didn't do anything, so I'm just kind of.
So it sounds like there are a couple issues here. One is that it sounds like you weren't managing this as the licensee on a day-to-day basis. You had mentioned that you're only open Fridays and Saturdays. Has that always been the case?
Yes.
And so
Every blue moonish, depending on the weather, maybe Thursday or Monday if there's a game, you know.
Okay. And how often are you at the bar? How often are you at the lounge?
Once a week, maybe, depending on night or staffing. If it's not properly staffed.
How many employees do you have?
4.
Any other questions?
Just for Mr. Kalendek, where do you live?
2843 St. Paul.
So you live in the city? Okay. You're one of my neighbors.
Oh.
I'm close by. I don't recognize you, but I'm close by. So how often do you go to the property and look and see what's going on and that everything is in good order?
I really don't. I've spoken to Kendrick and his wife, but that's going to change obviously after today. I'm very concerned.
Right. I mean, it's good to know that this seems to have been resolved, but we shudder when we hear cases like this because of what could happen.
I agree.
It's the risk of loss of life and personal injury is huge. I mean, what you set up, basically, I hope that you understand that in hindsight, you set up a circumstance that could have led to fire and quick death for a lot of people. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
I mean, terrible about the situation. You know, I just didn't know. You know, I just started, at that time, I thought it was a good idea until I fixed the issue with BG&E.
Okay.
Just trying to fix, I'm just trying to fix.
Trying to get through.
It's just problems after problems after problems. I'm just trying to put a Band-Aid on something that's just bleeding heavy, that's all.
Okay.
But I did fix it. Whatever the issue, I fixed it. The next day, I called BG&E. It was a Saturday. They said, call Monday. I called Monday. They set up a plan for me to pay everything off. I paid everything off that Thursday. They came out. They said I had to get the electrician to come back in, fix all the box. That's what I'm talking about. So they had to pull the permits. So that was something that they had to do. So everything was fixed. They came back out. Everything was put back on. Yeah, I took care of the problem.
Just wanted to say that, you know, when we go in, especially with fire, and they close an establishment, sometimes it can get kind of edgy for us because everyone, the patrons are usually very upset that this place just got closed. I have to say that the licensee went around, took full responsibility for the closure, said it was my fault, it was my negligence. They had nothing to do with this. I wasn't doing things right. So I just wanted to say that for the record.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. Commissioner Jones, anything further?
No, I'm good.
So, I also note that you have, back on October 23rd, 2014, you also had some violations.
Yeah, that's when I first opened up. I didn't know, like.
So, Mr. Godin, as far as I'm concerned, this is a tough case because I think, as Commissioner Moore mentioned, you've really set up a situation, and I believe you. I don't think you intended this. I think you were trying to put a Band-Aid on something, but you didn't realize, frankly, how significant the potential consequence is. So I appreciate what Inspector Chris Amalis had mentioned, that you did cooperate and you stood up and took responsibility. Sounds like you've addressed the matter. It also sounds like you're trying to get this establishment back up and running and invested. And you also have at least a $250 fire violation that's still in front of you, as I understand that you need to pay. Without, I'll turn it to my colleagues, but it's a tough one. Tough to, I don't want to put you, frankly, I don't want to charge you more money. I don't want to violate you so significantly that you're further underwater. From my viewpoint, again, my colleagues will chime in. But it's pretty serious stuff. With your $250 fine violation, and we'll hear what the other commissioners say, I'm going to add an additional $500 fine. I'm going to also suspend your license for a week. So it gives you some time to get stuff in order. You're at least closed for 2 or 3 days, from what I gather, so that you can really make sure and work with Mr. Kalendak, work with the inspectors, work with anyone you need to get this put together. Any other details? I appreciate the fact that you have you've addressed a number of these issues. I'm not sure it's completely resolved, but Commissioner Moore.
So I'm going to concur with the imposition of the fine and the 1 week closing. The one thing you've said consistently is, I did not know. And we have said so many times, owning a liquor license is a privilege, it's not a right. And it's a privilege that comes with a lot of responsibilities, heavily regulated. This board, with our team of inspectors, we're collaborating with other agencies. We're taking this stuff very, very, very seriously, and we take it particularly seriously when there's a the risk of the loss of life. And that's the situation here. So I think that I'm going to agree with the imposition of the finding of responsibility and the imposition of the fine. You have got to communicate with our office and get an understanding of what you need to know. You might consider retaining counsel that has a lot of experience in this area who can advise you, because I don't want there to be another I did not know and you're back because someone has been terribly injured. Okay? Do you hear what we're saying?
Yes, I totally agree.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Jones?
I appreciate the fact that you stood up to what was done. I give you some type of kudos for that. But the situation here, at the time of the violation, it was serious. And because of that, I concur with the findings.
So let me clarify the finding of the board. We find you in violation of Rule 3.08 sanitation and safety. Assuming my other colleagues concur, which I think they do, will fine $250 for that. And for violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, find you for $250 as well. Impose a 1-week suspension, recognizing also that you have at least a $250 citation through the fire department, I understand. And so with that, I think that.
And the starting point of the suspension?
The starting point of the suspension is today. And I think there's also.
And to be clear, I concur.
I concur.
Yeah, thank you. And there's an administrative fee, and we also have an exhibit, I understand.
I declare exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Detective Elsie Greenhill, Baltimore City Police Department report. Board Exhibit 2, Agent John Chrisomalis investigation report. Board Exhibit 3, Maryland State Business Entity Search. Board Exhibit 4, 20 photos of premise and generators. Licensee Exhibit 1, letter of good standing. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that concludes our hearings for the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that does conclude the AM docket. The board is in recess until May the 18th, 2017, 11 a.m. Thank you.